Devil's Night Diary calls. Do you dare to open the pages of the unknown? Visions of the Night, the haunting dreams that never end. Inspired by Ambrose Bierce. Part 1. The Forest of Forgotten Crimes. I found myself walking through a forest, vast, endless, and utterly unfamiliar. The trees towered like silent sentinels, their branches clawing at the dusk sky as if trying to escape their own dark fate. The air was thick with a strange tension, and the ground beneath my feet felt as though it had not been touched by the light of day in centuries. I knew that I was not supposed to be there, but something compelled me forward. The deeper I went into the woods, the more I became aware of an ancient crime, a transgression long buried in the depths of my mind. A crime I had committed against something pure and unforgiving. It felt as though the forest itself was punishing me, each step carrying me closer to something far worse than death. Suddenly, a brook appeared before me. The water flowed darkly, sluggishly, no longer the transparent purity of nature, but blood. A thick red stream that twisted through the trees, leading me onward. I followed the river of blood until I reached a small clearing where something grotesque awaited me. There, in the center of the clearing, was a marble tank filled with more blood, and surrounding it, a circle of lifeless bodies, each a man, each with their throat cut. Their bodies were arranged symmetrically, as though they were sacrifices to a greater unseen force. And then a pulsing rhythm filled the air, a slow, inevitable beat that seemed to come from the very heart of the earth itself. A rhythm that shook my bones, one that echoed the cruelty of my forgotten crime. I stood there unmoved, knowing this was the result of my sin. Part 2. The Monument of the Forgotten. Years later, I found myself in a dream that still clings to me like a shadow, even now, in the waking world. I was alone, standing on a barren plain under a sky that felt both vast and crushing. There was no life here, no trees, no houses, no rivers, only blackened earth and the sharp, distant gleam of stars. And then, on the horizon, I saw it. A crimson light that burned with an unnatural intensity, casting a glow that made the land seem even more desolate. Slowly, the silhouette of a colossal structure emerged, its towers reaching toward the heavens like the fingers of some ancient forgotten god. The structure expanded with every step I took, growing impossibly large, yet never coming closer. I walked toward it, helpless, knowing that I had to enter. When I finally passed through the great columns of stone, the air inside was thick with dust and silence. The walls were barren, and the floors echoed with the hollow sounds of my footsteps. I wandered through endless corridors, all of them leading nowhere. The emptiness weighed heavily on my soul, but I could not stop. At last, I reached a room with a single window. Through it, the same crimson light spilled into the space, casting long shadows across the floor. The sight of it made my heart heavy, as if something terrible were approaching. The air seemed to thicken, and I knew that something was waiting for me. In the far corner of the room, I saw a bed, strangely out of place in the midst of such desolation, and there, lying upon it, was a corpse, a decomposed body, its flesh torn and decayed, its grin frozen in a horrific mockery of life. I bent over the body with a sense of dread, but no fear, for I knew what I would find. The face was mine. The body, a twisted version of my own, eyes still alive, stared back at me with a tranquil gaze that made my blood run cold. I wanted to scream, but no sound came. I was staring at my own death, yet somehow I was still alive. Part 3. The Horse of Nightmares. In yet another dream, I found myself walking through a glade, the ground moist with dew underfoot. The moon hung low in the sky, glowing with an eerie red hue. It was then that I saw it, an impossibly white horse standing still and silent by the edge of the path. I approached it, thinking it was nothing more than a figment of my imagination, a creature born of dream logic. But as I drew nearer, the horse raised its head and spoke. Its voice was human, though I could not understand the words. It looked at me with eyes that seemed to pierce through me, as if it saw all my hidden fears. I wanted to run, but something kept me rooted to the spot. The horse spoke again, and I listened, waiting for the meaning behind its words. But before I could understand, I vanished from the dream, leaving the horse and its cryptic message behind. Perhaps one day I'll return to the land of dreams, where I'll finally hear what the horse had to say. Conclusion: the never-ending journey. What is a dream? Is it a window into the soul, or a reflection of our deepest fears? In the twisted landscapes of my own mind, I have found no answers. But one thing is certain: the visions of the night never truly end. They linger in the corners of my waking thoughts, haunting me with their cryptic truths and unshakable terror. Each time I close my eyes, I am pulled back into the depths of my nightmares. I am both the dreamer and the dream, forever bound to a cycle I cannot escape. Perhaps this is the price we all pay for our sins, or perhaps it is simply the curse of being human. In the world of dreams, there are no absolutes, no safety, no peace. Only the endless night, where the past and future collide, and where the truth is always just beyond reach. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more mysteries await. Stay curious, but safe.